an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Please be seated. The Secretary will read the order of the day.
Debate on vote number 10, Public Service and Administration Appropriation Bill.
Thank you very much, honorable members. I will now call upon the Minister of Public Service and Administration to deliver the speech. Honorable Minister.
Deputy Minister for Public Service and Administration, Ms. Dipuoli Satsiduba. Honorable members, Chairperson of the Presidential Remuneration Review Commission, Justice Kenneth Mutiane. Chairperson of the Public Service Commission, Advocate Richard Sizani. Chairpersons of the Government Employees Medical Scheme, Ms. Nontobe Gonsinde. Director General for the Department of Public Service and Administration, Director General for the Public Service Commission, Director General of the National School of Government, Executive Director for the Center for Public Service Innovation, the Principal Officer for the Government Employees Medical Scheme, distinguished guests. I want to acknowledge the following traditional leaders. We have got Hosi Mpambo Nawamis, Hosi Madonsi, Inkosi Intembe, and Hoshi Sole from Northwest, and fellow South Africans. Honorable Chairperson, we stand here today with much humility to present to this August House budget vote number 10, with the hope which we believe is going to deepen our transformation of the broad public service, so that it may correctly be wired to address the pressing problems confronted by the masses of our people. We present this budget today following the footsteps of the longest-serving President General of our revolutionary movement, the African National Congress. In honor of President Reginald Oliver Tambo, and during the centenary since his birth, we want to dedicate this vote to the hundreds and thousands of public servants who have chosen the path to emulate his selfless life of service to our people. Honorable members, it is common knowledge that President Tambo and Mandela chose a life of selfless service despite the attractions and full potential of a more prosperous and self-centered life. Reflecting on this chosen path, in the seminal life story of President Nelson Mandela in The Long Walk to Freedom, years later, President Tambo said, I quote, "For the years we worked side by side in the offices near the courts, to reach our desk each morning, Nelson and I ran the gauntlet of patient queues of people overflowing from chairs in the waiting room into our corridors. When we started our law partnership, we had not been rebels against the South African apartheid regime. Our experiences in our offices will have remedied the deficiencies. We had risen to professional status in our community, but every case in court, every visit to prisons to interview our clients reminded us of the humiliation and the suffering burning into our people." Close quote. It is this selfless dedication we wish to deepen and promote in the public service of today. It is this type of dedication, vigor, and humility we intend to ignite further in our public services. We do so conscious that the majority of our people remain without the means of control over their own life as they continue to be exploited only to fuel the engines of profit in servitude to white monopoly capital and global irrations. Consequently, As we dedicate this vote to the thousands of the public servants dedicated to changing the material conditions of our people, we do so conscious that unless a radical socio-economic transformation path is undertaken, those conditions will never improve. To paraphrase President O.R. Tambo's address to the International Labour Organization in 1986, our economy cannot be reformed. Our struggle has entered a phase which marks the final days of the white monopoly-dominated system. To move us further in that phase, we require a new, innovative, selfless, and inspired type of public service in the mold of our former President O.R. Tambo, all of which are in the line with the principle of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, which I quote, provide an efficient, transparent, and accountable and coherent government, close quote. Although this budget seeks to address our radical socio-economic transformation agenda in the longer term, it does adhere to our medium-term aspirations as contained in the National Development Plan. The National Development Plan builds the foundation for an efficient, effective, and development-oriented public service as part of a capable and developmental state, which can facilitate and implement a radical socio-economic transformation. In this regard, our strategic mandate as a portfolio is to create an enabling process environment for the rest of the public service and also to support effective implementation of these policies through, amongst others, monitoring, training, and promotion of innovation. Honorable House Chair, this year in September, it also marks the 20 years since the adoption of the Batupili principles and the white paper on transforming public service delivery. During the adoption of these principles, the then Minister of Public Service and Administration, Dr. Zola Skweyiya, reflected, I quote, government's most important task is to build a public service capable of meeting the challenge of improving the delivery of public service to the citizens of South Africa. Access to decent public services is no longer a privilege to be enjoyed by a few. It is now the rightful expectation of all citizens, especially those that are disadvantaged. The transformation of our public service is to be judged rightfully, but by the practical difference people they see in their everyday lives. I close quote. During this financial year, we'll therefore adhere to these principles and related public policies to test presented by this first Democratic Minister for Public Service and Administration with a view of improving on them and aligning it to our reinvigorated agenda. As we review this, we will also take lessons from hard-working public servants, such as the winner of the 4th National Batupile Excellent Awards, Ms. Tulisile Matenja. Ms. Matenja, can you please stand up? Thank you. We want to take this opportunity to appreciate and thank and appreciate her for walking in the footsteps of President O.R. Tambo and becoming an embodiment of a public servant that South Africa deserves. Ms. Matenja works in one of the most, but importantly, but also neglected sector which can accelerate our radical economic transformation agenda, that is the agricultural sector. Millions of women occupy this sector and go unnoticed, and we need to find ways to further empower such women while ensuring that a shared and inclusive growth in that and other sectors is done in our economy. The Center for Public Service Innovation is a cross-cutting facility of government aimed at entrenching and driving the culture and practice of innovation in the public sector to address service delivery challenges. Consequently, as the Public Service Act provides, it's responsible for the establishment of norms and standards relating to transformation, reform, innovation, and any other matter to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of the public service and service delivery to the public. In advancing this, the Center for Public Service Innovation will partner with various institutions within the health, safety, and security and education spheres in order to collaborate on the development of prototypes, as well as nurturing and sustaining a public service innovation and learning culture. These collaborations will include the development and implementation of a multimedia innovation centers, as well as the innovation journal. Work will also continue in relation to the ever popular Public Sector Innovation Awards, as well as the annual Public Sector Innovation Conference. Chairperson, allow me to recognize Ms. Ramadi Major Catherine Masikwemen, who represent one of the 2016 awardees of the Public Sector Innovation Awards. May you rise up. That's Ms. Masikwemen. Ms. Masikwemen comes from the Limpopo Treasury's Revenue Enhancement Strategy Project, which was awarded the coveted 2015 Innovator of the Year title. This project is an example of how government departments can refocus the revenue generations in the current dwindling equitable share. Going forward, we'll also pay greater attention to the governance and accountability measures of the Center for Public Innovation, Public Service Innovation, with the aim of rendering greater effectiveness and broader participation, an area of work which the Deputy Minister will elaborate. Honorable Chair, our ethos is one guided by the Constitution, and it implores us to demonstrate that we belong to our communities, we serve our communities, and we care about our communities. In this end, we must ensure that our government belongs to all our people and is in service to our people wherever they are. Against this background, I want to share with you some of the projects that we've embarked on, like the Back to School campaign, where we visited a number of schools in KwaZulu-Natal, Northwest Limpopo, and Mpumalanga. We were accompanied by our strategic partners from the private sector as part of the public-private partnership, who sponsors different items which were donated to identified and deserving historically disadvantaged learners in different schools. Through the SABC Foundation, we awarded 2 top matriculants with bursary. Those are the financially deserving ones. One is doing accountancy at the University of Johannesburg. Another one is doing social economic development in the University of Mpumalanga. In Mpumalanga province, in partnership with the MTN Foundation, we donated 11 multimedia centers, 1,000 bicycles and backpacks, and related accessory, including talking books at schools. The MTN Foundation has also signed an agreement with the contractor to construct an IC laboratory at Shimbufe High School this financial year. I would like to acknowledge Muskusi Lemtunzi Hairwazi, the General Manager of MTN Foundation. May you please rise? We also donated shoes, school shoes identified to needy 9 schools throughout the country through the Professor Alfred Nebutanda Foundation. In absentia, we would like to appreciate one civil servant, Mr. Kwezingwenya, who's a model public servant and an employee of the Estate Affairs Board, a parastatal of the Department of Human Settlement, who donated out of his pocket a sizable numbers of pairs of shoes in schools in KwaZulu-Natal province. We call upon all other public servants and other prominent persons to emulate these exemplary citizens. We also encourage other corporate citizens and foundations to partner with us in our initiative in serving our people. We also believe that this contribution will go a long way to assist those in need to make their lives better. We have the responsibility to inculcate the ethos of service and volunteerism as a way of life for all public servants. Every day must be filled with service and care for our people. Let us not wait until the next Mandela Day or another calendar day for us to encourage an active public service and an active citizenry. Honorable Chairperson, in moving forward together with the amended public service regulations on the 1st of August last year, so that we have amended them, so that we put in place policies and regulations to curb corruption in the public service. Through these amendments, these regulations stipulate clearly that public servants must not conduct business with any organ of state or be a director of a public or private company conducting business with an organ of state. Public servants were also informed accordingly that they should cease doing business with organs of state or resign from public service. The regulation also introduced transitional arrangements for the implementation of Regulation 13C, which provided that the public service employees were given a 6-month period, which ended on the 31st of January 2017, to relinquish their interest in business involved in conducting business with an organ of state or resign from the public service. Employees who opted to resign from such business were required in terms of the transitional arrangement to provide proof of resignation to their heads of department by the end of February 2017. And I want to report to the House to say majority of the public servants have complied with that. In this regard, the National Treasury also manages the central supplier database, empowered centrally to register suppliers who want to conduct business with the state. As such, it provides a list of names of individuals and businesses conducting businesses with state or their departments. By comparing data from the person with that of the central database, public service employees intending to conduct business with the state, as well as those that are already conducting business with the state, are identified. In January 2017, we forwarded letters to all executive authorities identifying those officials that are registered on the central database and those who are conducting business with an organ of state to create awareness on the transitional arrangement. In March this year, we also merged the central database information with PESAL. A total number of 11,516 public officials were found to be registered on the central supplier database and were therefore in a position to perform business with an organ of state or with government. At the end of February and for the period 1 October 2016 to 28 February 2017, a total of 2,566 employees who were registered on the central supply database have resigned from the public service. We are currently following up with the department to assess if there are any remaining public servants who have not resigned from the company they are associated with. To assist with the implementation of the Regulation 13, we approved 2 directives. The first one on 13 September 26 is a directive on other remunerative work outside the employee's employment in the relevant department as contemplated in Section 30 of the Public Service Act 1994. It was approved. The directive came to effect from the 1st of November 2016. The directive clarifies that although employees may obtain permission for remunerative work outside their employment, such permission shall not be used as a basis for conducting business with an organ of state. In January 2016, a directive on conducting business with an organ of state was approved to clarify the definition of an organ of state and excluding certain activities that are not considered to be considered conducting business with an organ of state, for example, teaching activities in universities. With effect from 1 February 2017, National Treasury also amended the registration process for prospective suppliers to be registered on the central database to prohibit public service employees from being registered. During the registration process, all suppliers are matched against the person to establish if they are public service employees or not. If a match is obtained, the person is flagged and it is then required to provide proof that he or she is not a public service employee. We view misconduct in a serious light and we will continue to strengthen measures for effective consequence management in the public service. Honorable members, as part of our medium-term strategic framework outcome 12, government has also identified the management of discipline as one of the priority indicators. The intention is to reduce the period it takes to resolve disciplinary cases from baseline of 134 days in April 2015 to 90 days by April 2019. One of the 10,754 cases analyzed as at March 31st, 2017, the median number of days taken to resolve disciplinary cases was 61 days. Notably, 6 of the 9 provincial administrations were below the 90 days. The median for national department was 91 days. Work will therefore continue to support departments that are above the median. Further, the department has established a pool of experts to support departments by making available chairperson, investigators, and employer representatives to be used in disciplinary hearings in this regard. So the department has also requested 38 requests for assistance and 97 experts were assigned. A major concern for government is the role of departments in capturing, updating, and maintaining the required information. With regard to discipline management, on the PESAL system, steps are going to be put in place to ensure that all departments capture regularly and update information on PESAL. These are amongst the critical initiatives through which we seek to promote integrity-driven public service in the footsteps of ORTAM. To complement these efforts, House Chair, I want to report that last week, Friday the 19th, we revived the National Anti-Corruption Forum, which is duly constituted by government, business, and civil society to coordinate sectoral strategies in the fight against corruption. The Public Service Commission is assigned the secretariat responsibility of the forum. These efforts too will be complemented by further actions in relation to the vexing challenge of non-submission of financial disclosure forms by due date of the 31st of May. We are pleased to note the progress recorded during 2016-17 financial year, where in 5 provinces and 35 national departments achieved 100% submission rate of financial disclosure form. This is the highest submission rate by both national and provincial departments since the inception of the financial disclosure framework in 1999. For the financial year ending 30 April 2016, 92% of senior management, they filed their disclosure on time. The introduction of the e-disclosure and electronic format of submitting financial disclosures has assisted in increasing compliance rate. Honorable Chairperson, the Public Service Commission has finalized a framework for the promotion of the constitutional values and principles and evaluation of the performance of the public service against these values and principles. The framework therefore defines each principle, set out the scope and content of each principle, and proposes a number of performance indicators for each principle. The Public Service Commission has also developed an evaluation tool to assess compliance with the values in the public service. The tool will therefore give a unique perspective on the public service on whether we are adhering to and achieving the intended goals of the values on an outcome level and not merely ticking the compliance boxes with legislation. Over the years, the public service has actively monitored the extent to which the public service has succeeded in meeting the required employment equity targets. The Public Service Commission found that significant progress has been made in ensuring that equity in terms of race, gender, and is attended to. Despite this, it is our firm belief that more still has to be done in securing gender parity and women leadership at all levels, particularly at the highest level of the public service. We have also noted the limited progress of achieving the disability equity target of 2%. To advance this target, will seek active partnership with organizations operating in disability sector, particularly the civil society and the labor movement, in line with the Disabled People of South Africa's motto of nothing about us without us. These efforts will also complement by the recommendation of the Portfolio Committee on Public that the PSC conduct a follow-up study to determine factors impeding government departments in achieving 2% of people with disability and 50% in senior management in the public service and make proposal for improvement. Without meeting these targets, our agenda for radical economic transformation and inclusive growth are under serious threat. As we conduct this analysis and headcount and determine where and at what level are the women and people with disability located, We will also pose the fundamental question of whether our department indeed the public and service at large is appropriately wired and designed to meet the department's specific mandates and our urgent objective for a radical social economic transformation. In doing so, we'll also continue with the ongoing engagements we have had with all our unions and stakeholders so that we may ensure a smooth and progressive process of capacitating the public services, while also taking on board, as far as possible, the concerns of the labor, the stakeholder, and most importantly, our citizens to whom we owe our very existence. A fundamental consideration in the promotion of ethical conduct in the public service is the extent to which conflict of interest that may exist between the public servant's private interests and public duties are managed. Potential conflicts of interest are managed proactively through the financial disclosure framework so as to avoid this from becoming actual conflict of interest, which can easily lead to corruption. Therefore, the primary function of the Public Service Commission is to scrutinize the financial disclosure forms received and advise executive authorities on the prevalence of potential and actual conflict of interest.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Your time has expired.
Thank you. I would like to urge the honorable members to give support to this important budget vote.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Honorable Koza.
Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Maybe before you start, Honorable Koza, let me just do some few housekeeping exercise. Our guests in the gallery are warmly welcomed, but we really want to make a special plea that please don't be participating in the debate. The debate it's meant for members only. Even if you are excited, don't clap your hands or show some gestures. Just remain cool and kindly as you are. Thank you very much. Honorable Kosa.
Thank you very much, Chair. Honorable Minister, Ms. Faith Mutambi, Honorable Deputy Minister, Dipua Letsatsi Tuba, honorable members, let me also recognize Advocate Sizani, the Chairperson of the Public Service Commission, officials, public servants of my country, fellow South Africans, Sanbonani. Honorable Minister, I wanted to assure you that the committee that is overseeing your department is a very vibrant committee, and it has considered the annual performance plan, and it has seriously considered the budget that comes with it, and it has adopted the budget. It has supported the budget. In tabling the report of the Portfolio Committee responsible for overseeing the Department of Public Service and Administration, which also houses National School of Government, the Center for Public Service Innovation, and responsible for receiving, processing, and getting some guidance from the reports of the Public Service Commission, as this particular commission is very important. The information that they collect is very important in strengthening the oversight function of the committee. But however, I would like you to allow me to contextualize the critical importance of the public service to our evolving participatory, people-centered, and driven constitutional democracy. Honorable members, the public service is not driven by profit motives, but service motives. However, it cares about the bottom line because we work with very limited financial resources, and these resources are insufficient to meet the demands of our people. Yet citizen satisfaction with our public service is not negotiable. This means public service and administration is not just about pushing papers, and as the minister has already highlighted, it's not just about ticking compliance boxes or frustrating our people. We therefore need a public service that embraces quality continuous improvement ethos. Our people from all cultures, races, classes, and gender orientations have two things that put a smile on their face, namely quality and prosperity. The National Development Plan 2030 states, open quote, in a society with deep social and economic divisions, neither social nor economic transformation is possible without a capable and developmental state, close quote. And this you can find on chapter 13 of the NDP, page 408. It is therefore within this context, Minister, that the committee considered the annual performance plan 2017-2018 and resolved to support budget vote 10. The department is the engine of government because when all is said and done, what is government without those who are meant to implement its policies and programs? The administration is therefore fundamentally important. It is actually key to making our decisions that we make as politicians materialize. Whilst many departments have received budget cuts necessitated by the current very difficult economic environment, this public service and administration overall budget allocation is 897 million for 27-18 compared to 779 million for 2016-2017 financial year, which is an increase of about 15.3% in nominal terms. It is important to note that an average of 48.2% of the department's total budget over the medium term is allocated to transfer and subsidies for the operations of the National School of Government, the Public Service Commission, and Center for Public Service Innovation. These departments provide public servants access to knowledge and skills, promote the principles of public administration, and foster innovation in the public service. The department's second largest area of spending is on the compensation of employees, which accounts for 31.5% of the total budget over the medium term. The department has a staff complement of approximately 444 who work with personnel across government to strengthen the public service contribution to national development. The budget vote of the Department of Public Service and Administration is hence divided into 6 programs that seek to achieve its mandate. It is therefore a legitimate expectation, Minister, that we are expecting the department to deliver on their mandate because you got an increase when other departments didn't. Honorable members, we are living in the third industrial revolution that is extremely disruptive and very fast. It is an era of algorithms. It is also inevitable that we are entering yet another fourth leg of the industrial revolution of artificial intelligence and robotics. This places enormous pressure on the speed to which we deliver services on platforms that are consistent with the technological advances of our times. It is very important, members, to remember that since 1994, we simply got into the public service, the kind of configuration of the public service, we found it there, and we simply continued with it as it was. But clearly, if we look at the trends of what is happening currently in terms of the technological platforms that are happening, we really need to start to reconfigure the administration. As such, we've had a very, very, Minister, a very, very passionate engagement with the chairperson of the Public Service Commission, because we think it's going to be absolutely important for them to also begin to look at the risks and also to look at whether are we adapting as the public service, because the chances are that we may not be adapting and we may actually find ourselves in very, very, very difficult situations. It is for this reason as well, Minister, that Program 2, which is Policy Development, Research and Analysis, is very important to us because we would like it to be aligned with the technological advancement challenges of our time. The main purpose of this program is to manage and oversee the formulation, development, and review of policies, policy reform and transformation programs. It also manages research and analysis of public service capacity, performance, and reform by conducting productivity, accessibility, and continuity studies, tracking trends in best practice in public administration discourse in order to enhance access to public services through feasibility and continuity studies. In 2016-2017, the budget allocation for Program 2 was 28.83 million, and in 2017-18, the allocation is 34.4 million. It is there inevitably, given our major concerns about government's ability to adjust and catch up with the effects of the third and fourth industrial revolution, we applied our minds when we considered Program 4, which is Government's Chief Information Officer. The purpose of the program of this program is to promote and manage the use of information communication technology as a strategic tool in the design and delivery of citizen-centered services within government by coordinating and consolidating public service information communication technology policies, strategies, costs, risk assessment, as well as ITC governance matters. The program was introduced in order to develop, implement, and monitor information communication technology policies and norms and standards. The budget allocation for Program 4 accounts for 2.39% share of 21.5 million of the total budget for 2017-2018. In 2017-18, the allocation for Program 4 increased by 13.76% in nominal terms. And we would like to say these are the considerations that the committee took into account when it supported Budget Vote 10. I know that the DA, they support us, but when they get here, I don't know what happens with them. Sometimes I'm hoping that they are going to be consistent with the spirit of the committee. Because we discussed this, we agreed, and I don't know why do you fear John so much. Honorable Steenhuisen. He's intimidating you. Because you are so nice when you are with us, but once he's here in the room, you change. We are pleased with the progress of the National School of Government. And we must say that, the National School of Government is beginning to position itself. We've been very concerned about it, that, there is a lot of money that is sitting in different departments, but that money is not necessarily going towards, it's not necessarily assisting the school to grow. But we hope that with in the capable hands of Professor Lavin, we are going to see this School of Government being able to be a pioneer of excellence in government. And we are pleased with what we've been hearing, and in terms of, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, but they've been making steady progress, and I'm very happy that we are beginning to rework their funding model. The committee remains concerned, Minister, that this government, in these rapidly changing times, when our needs are nowhere close to matching the availability of financial resources, that we are only injecting 34 million total budget allocation to the Center for Public Service Innovation. You see, innovation is very important, especially for us as developing countries. If we are not going to be investing enough in innovation, we are really going to find ourselves being left out again, like the same way as we were left out during the first industrial revolution, the second industrial revolution, and if we are not doing that, we are going to be left out again. And it is for this reason, Minister, that we wanted to implore upon you to ensure that as we enter this new cycle of the MTF, we have to really make sure that we budget more money for that. It's not that it's because we love the name. We've been there, and we would like members to actually go to the center. It's absolutely, absolutely impressive. The kinds of results the kinds of benefits that we are already deriving from the Center for Innovation are really unbelievable given the limited budget, the limited budget constraints. And we've already seen that they are already beginning to save costs. I mean, in the blood issues, blood bank things, I mean, I'm not sure, I don't know the terminology. Ms. Tuli Hadebe will be able to explain that. But we have seen that they are beginning to assist us a lot in saving costs. So, Minister, kindly ensure that we are really, really focused on this department, because it looks like we are treating it as just this little entity over there. And we have a lot of challenges in South Africa. In fact, last week I was sharing a platform with former President Obasanjo. And one of the things he was saying South Africa and Nigeria, whether we like it or not, we are expected to lead the development of this continent. And we can't lead the development of this continent if we don't invest enough in innovation, because this continent needs a lot of innovation. The only bad news, Minister, I thought I would reserve the bad news last. Minister, we are not happy with the allocation of the Department of Public Service Commission. You know, this department, the budget allocation of this department has been cut to an extent that we are actually paying commissioners and staff to get paid and not to do the work, because only 3% of their budget is left for them to do what the commission was established for. In other words, you know, what can you do with 3% of the budget? You are actually paying people to be paid, not to do the work. It's an irony, and we think this is going to be looked at, because we are currently, as a country, we are facing challenges of poor performance in certain aspects, notwithstanding that we do have best practices elsewhere, but we also have serious challenges with corruption, and we're also talking about issues of non-disclosures and having to have our staff to disclose. The Public Service Commission is very, very important in fulfilling that function, and we implore upon you as well to make sure that going forward, we make sure that the Public Service Commission is not crippled by insufficient funds. In fact, it doesn't make any economic sense. We might as well just close the commission if we are going to be paying them for, to get paid. So, notwithstanding, we would like to appreciate the Minister's devotion to this new portfolio committee. We also urge the Minister and the Deputy Minister to ensure that we find a lasting solution for the two song centers. Today, we actually had discussions around this, and we think the Deputy Minister is on top of the game, and we are recommending that we need to really bring in all the managers of the two song centers so that the funding model that we are coming with, or the business model of the two song centers, is also informed by the functionaries. It's not something that is just, a desktop kind of study that is not necessarily based on the realities on the ground. And we also need to make sure that we get all the different stakeholders under one roof, and we make a way forward for the two song centers, because they are absolutely critical to all the things that you were mentioning, Minister, in terms of our role and where we are headed to as a country in terms of development. Minister and Chairperson, allow me to leave you with this in supporting this vote 10 on behalf of the committee. I want to quote Margaret Chase Smith. She says, open quote, "Public service must be more than doing a job efficiently and honestly. It must be a complete dedication to the people and to the nation." Close quote. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Khosa. The next speaker is Honorable van der Walt.
Honorable Chair and colleagues, let me put the facts right. The DA did not support the budget. We reserved our rights after noting it. Today, I would like to honor the thousands of truly hardworking and dedicated public servants striving to do their jobs, those servants who are not captured but try to deliver services to the South African public. Minister, today marks the 55th day since your appointment to this department. Yet, you have not attended any of the portfolio committee meetings, neither the two-day workshop, which dealt with your department's APP and budget. You were, however, very quick to start spending money by hosting two imbizos, one on your 29th and the other on your 35th day in office at an estimated 1.3 million rand. And even quicker, within your first 7 days, you started building your personal office empire. Not sure if you have seen this document referred to as the Ministerial Handbook, Minister, specifically Chapter 8. It states that you are allowed a total of 10 posts in your private office staff complement, not 22. However, Minister, you have never been one to adhere to rules. As you have shown time after time, you have an utter disregard for your oath of office and the Executive Ethics Code. Was it really necessary to restaff DPSA with your cadres? Clearly, we all know the answer to this. In the ANC, blind loyalty is rewarded, especially the blind loyalty to corruption and incompetence. Minister, you cannot go wrong if you prioritize the following on your reading list: the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, the Ministerial Handbook, the Guideline on Cost Containment Measures by National Treasury, Treasury Regulations, and the PFMA. Please note that according to Chapter 10 of the Constitution of our country, this department must be governed by 9 democratic values and principles, which includes, amongst others, efficient economic and effective use of resources must be promoted. Services must be provided impartially, fairly, equitably, and without bias. People's needs must be responded to, public administration must be accountable, and public administration must be broadly representative of the South African people, with employment and personnel management practices based on ability, objectivity, fairness, and the need to redress the imbalances of the past to achieve broad representation. South Africa's enlarged cabinet, which will be limited to 15 departments after the DA takeover in 2019, is amongst the world's largest in relation to the size of its population. Obviously, your Mr. Zuma's massive cabinet has a direct correlation with the massive size of your public sector wage bill. The public sector wage bill is reflective of the growth of the executive, as increasingly more government posts and entities must be created to support a snowballing executive. This is problematic because it is one of the government's biggest expenditure items. The ANC-led government allocated more than a staggering 550 billion, not 550 billion rand to public sector wages for the year 2017-18. This means that the public wage bill, which amounted to 5% of total government expenditure in 1994, has swelled to 43% of the total government expenditure in 2017. The government headcount has plateaued at around 1.32 million staff, but wage growth has been robust. Although adding staff has been curtailed in the public sector, wage growth remains spectacular compared to the private sector. Should the upcoming wage negotiations, which are to be conducted later this year, be concluded that similar agreements to previous years, not reduced wage settlements, it could definitely add further risk to the fiscal outlook. Minister, it will be useful for you to examine the details of the wage settlement since the 2015-16 financial year, which has already resulted in a total average increase of 11.5% per employee. The total increase in the wage bill over the past 3 years is an absolutely shocking 77.3 billion rand. And let that sink in, 77.3 billion rand. This money indeed could certainly be spent in a better place. We literally have people who are dying of hunger in our country. We have people living on the streets. We have over 9 million people unemployed. Surely there must be a better way to spend this extravagant amount. Wave after wave of above inflation pay hikes for public sector employees, particularly in ministries which provide very little public benefit, is simply not sustainable or justifiable. As part of your department's 38 annual targets, you have to develop proposals for the next round of salary negotiations. What criteria will you use to ensure it is sustainable and that it will enhance service delivery to the people, especially to the poorest communities in South Africa? We as the DA want and will ensure that there is service delivery for every single citizen in our country. Our new reshuffled minister, according to a track record since her days as an acting MM till a previous department, which was communications recently, has an utter disregard for money, by no means take into account austerity measures, and is highly ineffective when it comes to any form of expenditure. She is by no means qualified or capable to address the looming crisis of the public wage bill. This member couldn't even run a successful yard sale, let alone as a successful department. After being moved around all over the show, when will we finally be able to consider this member's mischief managed? We as the DA remain utterly faithless. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Honorable Paulson.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think Jacob Zuma is a fan of George Michael. You got to have faith, faith, faith. You got to have faith.
On a point of order, Chair.
The rest of the lyrics are quite unparliamentary, so I won't continue.
Honorable Paulson, there's a point of order. What's the point of order?
Honorable Chairperson, there is no Jacob Zuma in this house, and we need to refer to other members in a respectful manner, either Mr. or Honorable Member, not on their first names. There's totally disrespect of the rules of this house. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. The order is sustained. Can you refer to any member of this house, Honorable or Mr.?
Chairperson, the rule says I cannot refer to a person by the first name or the surname. Therefore, I refer to him by his full name, Jacob Zuma.
No, it's Mr.
But anyway,
or
Chairperson,
honorable.
can we continue, please?
Yeah, but you must respect the rules of the house as you continue. You must respect the rule of the house.
Chairperson, my time, please. Otherwise, Chairperson, I cannot imagine why else the President would include the Honorable Faith in his cabinet. He should rather have made her a minister without...
Point of order, Chairperson.
Honorable Paulson, I said you must refer to
I
the
said Honorable
President.
Faith.
No, to the President, as required by the House.
I said the President, what is wrong with you? You need to understand your rules.
As Mr. Zuma or Honorable Zuma?
Okay, number one. Okay. If the President was so insistent on including the Honorable Faith in his cabinet, he should have made her a minister without portfolio. We don't have any faith in you, Honorable Minister. Since your days at communication, we all know the sorry mess, the fantastic catastrophe you caused there. We can only wait for further destruction and chaos to come to this current department. We say so because everywhere you go, you leave a trail of destruction. Where there was faith and hope when you arrived, by the time you are gone, there's nothing but mistrust and misery. But let's deal with something a bit more substantial, a policy matter, which we have raised since our arrival in Parliament. Honourable Chairperson, in January 2017, the University of Witwatersrand announced that it would start insourcing contract employees. The salary of outsourced workers who earn below the minimum wage was increased to 4,500 in January. The University of Cape Town has insourced all workers, more than 1,000 who were previously outsourced as security guards, cleaners, caterers, gardeners, and drivers. They are all now employed with full medical and pension benefits, and the children will have the same benefits as professors' children. A daughter of a gardener will get free education because her mother is an employee of the university. A son of a cleaner will get free education because his father is an employee of the university. And this trend will spread across all universities. The EFF Student Command will not rest until all university workers are insourced ethically and with dignity. But we are not debating higher education today, we are debating public service administration. And as we stand here as the EFF to put forward a much more sustainable and financially sound proposal on how to build efficient public service. Government must take a lead in fighting against outsourcing and not be led by university when government is supposed to be a leader of society. Government departments, provincial departments, municipalities, and state-owned entities outsource basic functions worth billions every year. That is why staff in this parliament will not even get a salary increase this year. Thousands of workers are employed by companies and subcontracted to government, creating a network of corrupt, unnecessary middlemen, a layer of ANC cronies who get tenders but pay their workers slave wages. It is time that all of government in all spheres start employing people, and we must do away with contracting and outsourcing. Cleaners, gardeners, drivers, plumbers, artisans, and all other workers currently outsourced must form part of public services. They must benefit from medical aid, pension, and housing subsidies. All workers must have full-time 20 working days a month, a minimum of 42 hours a week with paid leave. If the ANC is serious about socio-economic radical transformation from a public service reform, this is the most logical and practical manner to do it. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Honorable Singh. Honorable Singh, over to you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Slangwa serves on this committee, so I will just be sharing some of his thoughts with all of you here, honorable members, and the thoughts of the IFP. But at the outset, let me wish the new minister well, and in particular the deputy minister who served as chairperson of a committee that I serve, Public Enterprises. I must tell you, things are hot there since you've gone. Chairperson, this department has one of the toughest mandates in government. That is, inter alia, to ensure the efficiency and efficacy of the public service and improve the professionalization of service delivery by government to the people. This is particularly difficult given that this is done through a civil service which is keenly aware of the socio-economic conditions of our people. Public service is no ordinary job, but rather a patriotic duty that makes or breaks the prospects of alleviating the plight of our people. In fact, public service is the yardstick measure of service delivery and a crucial benchmark about the health of our democratic discourse. Chairperson, in order for the department to achieve its broad mandate, it needs to establish a culture of patriotism in the civil service. It needs to establish well-run and effectively coordinated state institutions with public servants who are cognizant of the fact that they are there to serve the public, and it is their commitment that ultimately provides the service at a personal level. Sometimes I wonder, where is Butterpela? People first. Many magnificent, excellent civil servants and public servants at the coalface of where the public attend, Department of Home Affairs and other places. But there are some who just should not be there, Minister. I was told the other day by a colleague of mine, when he walked into Department of Home Affairs, at 10 o'clock people were eating Kentucky Fried Chicken. And he could see them through the window, 3 of them. And when he went and reported to the supervisor, and he had to go back the following week, you know what they did? They blocked off the window so that you couldn't see they were eating Kentucky. They might have been eating still behind there. Now that's the kind of people that sometimes our public face when we go there. In a country that's well renowned for protesting, and we can see a lot of service delivery protests, we need to ensure that our public servants up their game. The continued politicization of unions is a great threat to the professional functioning of the public service. The politics of the tripartite alliance in particular has often spilled over into the operational discourse of the public service, bringing service delivery to a painfully grinding halt at the expense of communities, patients, and learners. The IFP supports, upholds, and respects the right of workers to organize themselves into unions, but all rights come with responsibilities, especially when it comes to essential services. Another ongoing issue that requires the department's attention is the issue of public servant absenteeism. How many public servants we find not at work on a Monday, not at work on a Friday? And then you get bogus medical certificates. I experienced it when I was MEC, when people were coming with bogus medical certificates, especially those of a psychiatric nature, where they get off for a year, 2 years, and they're not at work. And you need to deal with this, Honorable Minister. The IFP will support the department's initiatives aimed at entrenching the Butterpela principles and professional administration in all spheres of government and at all sectors of public administration. South Africa deserves an impartial, transparent, competent, accountable, efficient, effective, apolitical, non-partisan, and trustworthy public service. As the IFP, we support the budget, and we will continue to work alongside the department to ensure that the principles of service delivery are adhered at all levels, and that the vision of the NDP is also maintained. I think my time is up, Chair. Not yet. Oh, my time is not up. Okay, let me talk about something else. I have half a minute. Chairperson, I would also like to address the issue of people with disabilities. Maybe we can be told, I'm not in the department or in the committee, how many people with disabilities, are we meeting the quota? I know of an individual that worked for me when I was MEC who was blind. And the one day when I walked into the office, I saw something shaking under the table, and I thought it was a snake, because I jump on the table when I see a snake. But he had his guide dog there.
Your time
And
is
this young
now-
man for 10 years
Your time is now
has not got a
expired,
job
Honorable
because the
Sir.
next MEC fired him after I left. Something's got to be done about people who are disabled, who can be of service to the nation.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Chairperson.
The next speaker is Honorable Mwabe. Honorable Mwabe.
Ngiyabonga sihlalo ngibingelele ungqongqoshe nesekela lakhe abahlonishwa bonke abakhona abaholi beminyango noma ama entities angaphansi komnyango abakhona ngizwile ukuthi khona nabaholi bendabuko abakhona ngiyabingelela kondaba ezitha ngokuhlukahlukana. Chair, the stated core for focus of the Department of Public Service and Administration is to implement and coordinate interventions aimed at achieving an efficient, effective, and development-oriented public service, which is an essential element of a capable and developmental state such as this one of ours, South Africa. In short, the department is expected to be the principal driver of the constitutional requirement that we have a public service that is professional, accountable, and development-oriented. To execute its mandate, the department has been allocated a modest 897.1 million for 2017-2018, which represent an 8.21% real increase on 779 million for previous financial year. A salient feature of the budget analysis is that 31.5% of the budget will be spent on employee salaries, and 48% have been allocated to transfers. The NFP supports the observations and recommendations contained in a report of a portfolio committee. In particular, when agreement with assertion that the digital revolution in the public service is going to be crucial to service delivery in the public service, and urge the department to implement a recommendation that the Director General should sensitize the Forum for Director Generals about the digital revolution, which is likely to impact on how government provides services in the future. In addition, we share in the comment of the Portfolio Committee that a 49% increase in the allocation for Program 5 dealing with service delivery support is commendable. This allocation will increase the capacity of the department to give technical support and advice to national, provincial, and local government institutions that experience service delivery challenges, and will ultimately serve as both a preventative and remedial measure to service delivery challenges and protest. Finally, the NFP also supports the view that the department should prioritize and enhance e-governance as an important tool for improving service delivery. We share in the belief that e-governance must make government services more accessible, reduce the cost of accessing such services, and improve turnaround times for receiving services in public sector. The NFP supports this budget, and I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mkwabe. May I now give opportunity to the Deputy Minister?
Modulastulo, the Minister of Public Service and Administration, Honorable Faith Mtambi, the Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Dr. Makosi Khoza, the Chairperson of Presidential Remuneration Review Commission, Justice Kenneth Mtiani, the Chairperson of Public Service Commission, Advocate Richard Sizani, the Chairperson of Government Employees Medical Scheme, Ms. Nontobeko Zinde, Director General and heads of MPSA entities, honorable members, guests, fellow South Africans. Honorable Chairperson, we are honored to present to this House the Budget Vote 10 of the Ministry of Public Service and Administration. As the Public Service and Administration, we are in the forefront in capacity building of our state. Our role is to ensure that throughout government, services are delivered effectively, efficiently, in a manner that redresses the imbalances of the past and restores the dignity to all citizens. We present this budget vote, Honorable Chairperson, seeking to make right where there were wrongs of the past. This is in line with the vision of a generation of illustrious leaders that led our liberation movement. As a nation commemorates 2017, the year of Oliver Tambo, we are reminded, Honorable Chairperson, of the values of the ANC president, which he stood for. These values, Honorable Chair, include, amongst others, the humility, the selflessness, dedication, respect, and respect for human dignity. We ask ourselves on how can we embrace these values to strengthen our services in government as we seek to decisively respond to the aspirations of each and every citizen. This leader, Honorable Chair Oliver Tambo, left us a significant and enduring heritage. It is a heritage that enhances our constitution and contribute to the inclusive and equitable policies of our government. This is a legacy that lives on, and we must, Honorable Chair, build on it. The Constitution of our country, Honorable Chairperson, calls on all public administration to be accountable, to be transparent, and developmental orientated. We owe it to this remarkable legacy of Oliver Tambo to ensure that the public institutions are well run and effectively coordinated. These institutions, Honorable Chairperson, must diligently and consistently deliver in line with the heightened expectations on the public that we serve. Against this increased citizen expectation for improved services, Honorable Chairperson, including the need for innovation service delivery tools, mounting pressure is put on government to find more creative ways of responding to citizens' expectations. Honorable Chairperson, this calls for the public service to be more open-minded, to embrace new thinking, new ways of doing things, as this approach will present opportunities to derive simpler solutions to our common challenges. To address these triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality, Honorable Chairperson, as contained in the National Development Plan, the public service has to reinvent itself to find new ways of adding value to the systems and practices at workplace. The Center for Public Service Innovation, the CPSI, continues to entrench the culture and practice of innovation in the public sector through various programs. In 2016, the CPSI took a strategic decision to launch a series of workshops that targeted the leadership of sectors to ensure that innovation is embraced and as a vehicle for service delivery enhancement. As part of this drive, Honorable Chairperson, the CPSI conducted 4 sector-specific workshops for 163 hospital CEOs and clinical managers in the province of Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and KwaZulu-Natal, where numerous health innovations unearthed through annual public sector innovation awards programs were shared. The purpose of this workshop was to encourage the replication and mainstreaming of implementation public sector innovations within the healthcare sector. In 2016-17, Honorable Chair, the CPSI continued to facilitate the replication of innovative solutions unearthed through the annual Public Sector Innovation Awards program, the Saving Blood, Saving Lives project from Edenvale Hospital in KwaZulu-Natal, where it saves the hospital 16 million in 3 years, is an example of such innovation. In 2016, this project was recognized by the Minister of the Public Service and Administration as a category winner for its role in reducing the use of blood and blood products that save the money of this institution. This project is the recipient of the GEMS Health Award, an accolade that the medical aid scheme bestowed within the CPSI Innovation Awards program on health institutions that have used innovation to solve service
may you round
delivery
up?
challenges. Honorable Chairperson, we are happy to report to this House that the CPSI has facilitated the replication of these solutions at various hospitals in Gauteng and elsewhere in the country. Within the last year, the CPSI facilitated the replication of a crime prevention solution in 67 no-fee schools in Gauteng in partnership with the Department of Community Safety and Education. The solution connects households and schools to sector policing vehicles, police stations, and community police forums for a quicker response time to incidences of crime. To date, 25 police stations have been connected to households and schools in Gauteng and Northwest provinces. As part of
sorry,
the
Ms.
bigger plan
PM.
to infuse,
May you round off.
Oh.
I'm hoping that you're rounding off.
oh. Now you have disorganized me, Honorable Chair. Let me quickly rush to the last pages. Honorable Chair, in August 2016, the National School of Government entered into a memorandum of understanding with the South African Local Government Association, SALGA, to collaborate on areas of capacity building in local government. The MOU also provides for collaboration inter alia public lectures and leadership platforms for reflection, utilizing local and international experts, targeting mayors, councillors, top leaders in local government, and induction programs for councillors and senior management to promote the narrative of back to basics in municipalities. In collaboration between the NSG and SALGA, Honorable Chairperson, the currently
Your
efforts
time
of
is
professionalism.
up, DM, I'm sorry.
Thank you. We support the budget.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm very sorry, DM. The next speaker is Honorable Mulder.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Minister, I would like to start off by saying thank you to thousands of good, honest, hard-working civil servants, because we do have those. And we respect them for what they are doing. But unfortunately, Honourable Chairperson, the question is, are they in the majority or are they in the minority? When it was mentioned earlier today that the budget in terms of expenditure was 5% of the total wage bill of total government expenses in 94 was 5%. But it increased to more than 40% in 2017. Then we should all understand and realize that we are seriously in trouble. And the reason for that is very simple. Government is committed to job creation. I understand that. But under completely a wrong approach. It's not the task of government to use the civil service to create jobs. That's wrong. You can never do that. And there we differ fundamentally in principle with government, because we believe that the private sector should be made assisted to create jobs and to allow the economy to grow. That's not happening. You cannot create jobs with the civil service that are totally bloated, and with this enormous wage bill, it will destroy us. But there are things that concern me, Honourable Minister. Are you aware that the Treasury's Procurement Office found that there are 12,000 deceased people on the register of companies that are doing business with the state? 12,000. And I'll come back to that. But it's more worrying. The Treasury's Procurement Office found there are 14,000 civil servants who serve as directors of companies who have contracts with the state. How is that possible? Why on earth should a civil servant be doing business with the state? Why? Give me a good reason. Why? A civil servant is supposed to have a good salary and to serve the public and to serve South Africa. They should not be in a position where they are using their position to get hold of contracts. That same office found that fraud and inflated prices cost the state approximately 40% or 600 billion for goods and services. And I've seen that myself. I was able to visit, unfortunately, the Nkandla situation. More than 262 million rands was spent there. You won't find 50 million in value there. But somebody paid 262 million. That's where the money is going. That's why we've got the corruption problem in South Africa. That's why things are going completely wrong. Those 12,000 deceased people on the register, you know what they do? It is corrupt officials who create fake companies and use those deceased people's particulars, and then
sorry,
those
Mr.
corrupt
Mulder,
companies
your time
bid
is
too high, and then they get the contract. Minister,
Your
we're in trouble.
Expired,
Yes,
Mr.
it's a
Mulder.
pity.
Thank you. The next speaker is Honorable D. Carter. I'm told he's
Honorable Chairperson, I'll just check where she is because she's moving from chamber to chamber. Thank you. Now we've got to understand she's a one-member.
unfortunately, Honorable Carter is not here. We'll continue with the next speaker. May I call upon Honorable Nihout Druchen, who will be speaking from the seat.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, Honorable members, and honorable guests, welcome. In 1993, an interim constitution of South Africa was established, which indicates that there shall be a public service for South Africa structured in terms of a law to provide effective public administration. This resulted in the kind of public administration that we aspired for, as mentioned in Chapter 10 of the Constitution in 1996. Since 1994, our people started to be closer with government, legislatures, and participate openly in the development affecting their lives, leading to an inclusive government. The ANC laid a foundation for a democratic public service on a basis for greater accountability of the state to its citizens. There was a need to modernize the architecture of the public service to make it more efficient, effective, accountable, and people-centered so that it would be able to fulfill its transformation agenda. Significant progress has been made since 1994, notably through the extension of access to basic services such as water, electricity, education, housing, and social security. However, despite this progress, access to quality services remains uneven. The ANC believes that despite progress made by the Department of Public Service and Administration to address challenges highlighted in the NDP, the department should further enhance and strengthen its capacity to address the following issues. Firstly, the implementation of the Public Administration and Management Act, PAMA, which prohibits public servants from doing business with the state. The committee urges the department to speed up the process of finalization of the Public Administration Management Regulations to curb inefficiencies in the public service. Our Constitution states that we should have a public administration that is accountable, transparent, efficient, and developmental orientated. Everyone appointed in the public administration has to be guided by the principles as we move towards building a public service as a career of choice. Principles and values are the code of conduct and practice. We all have the responsibility in the public service to embody and adhere to them. The Office of Norms and Standards was established to curb malpractices in the public service. The department should partner with the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, as well as the Public Service Commission, in ensuring heads of departments sign and evaluate performance agreements within prescribed timeframes. Government needs an electronic performance management system to monitor whether performance contracts of DGs are signed within the appropriate period. Government signed and adopted the Public Service Charter, and this promotes the service standards with a call on public servants to meet and exceed them. The Charter also seeks to improve service delivery programs and reinforce the commitment of all partners to service delivery improvement for the benefit of our citizens. In order to build effective, efficient, and a responsive public service, the department has to enforce effective implementation of the Charter across the public service. During our oversight in Mpumalanga and Limpopo province, we have witnessed that government is lacking behind when it comes to instilling principles of this Charter. The capacity of the state to deliver depends on human resources. During our oversight visit, there's a huge vacancy rate in our public hospitals. The key responsibilities of the department is to monitor the vacancy rate in the public service. But the vacancy rate is not well reported, and the partial system seems not to be accurate. We encourage the department to intensify its efforts in monitoring the vacancy rate. Disciplinary cases are prolonged in the public service. A high number of officials are suspended, some with and others without salary. The department needs to publish such information as the committee has been asking for it. The idea of appointing a pool of experts to fast-track disciplinary cases is most welcomed. In curbing conflict of interest, either direct or indirect, we urge the department to speed up and prioritize consultation with relevant stakeholders in identifying further categories of employees to disclose financial interests. This can serve as a strategy to curb corruption in lower levels in the public service. Ensuring that the public service is conducive to persons with disabilities, as entrenched in the Bill of Rights, which affirms the democratic values of human dignity, equality, and freedom, by ensuring that employees with disabilities are provided with the appropriate working environment and the required devices to effectively perform their duties and functions. Since the 31st of December 2015, the public service had a workforce of 1,320,759, of which 9,091 are employees with disabilities, yet only 1.19% of the employees with disabilities have been provided with reasonable accommodation and assistive devices. Also, to ensure the implementation of a formal public service graduate recruitment scheme, the NDP proposes a number of interventions aimed at ensuring that public service becomes a career of choice and that it attracts and retains appropriate skills and expertise necessary to deliver on the goals and mandate of government. We applaud the department in prioritizing the implementation of this scheme as a strategy for recruiting dedicated young people to develop their potential and advancing their career progression in the public service. The committee also recommends funding an institutional model for the Tusong centers to be fast-tracked in a bid to improve the efficiency of these centers. The Public Service Commission is an independent oversight institution established in terms of Chapter 10 of the Constitution. The Commission is addressing some of the key issues raised in the NDP, such as building a capable, career-orientated and professional public service. The Commission has an obligation to promote values and principles of public administration as enshrined in the Constitution. Through its oversight reports, the PSC has continued to advise government as well as Parliament on areas of progress and areas that undermine the ability of the state to deliver.
May you round up?
The PSC needs to ensure that there's improvement in timely submission of disclosure forms by senior managers with regard to the financial disclosure framework. Honourable Minister and Chairperson of the Public Service Commission, the committee would like to see a 100% compliance rate with the financial disclosure framework. The Commission should speed up analysis of information to detect if there are conflicts of interest before it's too late. The e-disclosure system should serve as a preferred option in disclosing, which is much faster and better. The Centre for Public Service Innovation was created to solve service delivery challenges in the public service through innovation and replication of solutions. The committee urges the Minister to ensure that this centre is well funded so as to assist government in tackling service delivery challenges.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Honourable Chair, the ANC supports this budget.
Thank you, Honourable Newhout-Rochen. I'm now calling upon Honourable Zongbloed. Young, ne? Sorry,
Not
Youngbloed.
Young
Yes.
blood.
Young. Young blood, yes.
That's it.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable members, it is absolutely scandalous that number one did not dump the new Minister of Public Service and Administration when he had the opportunity to do so in his midnight cabinet reshuffle.
Point of
In
order.
the final report of the
Point of
SABC ad
order.
hoc committee,
Point of order.
Ma'am Youngbloed,
Rule 82.
just wait.
Who is
Just a second.
can I continue?
No, we
You
want
may
to
proceed
understand
with
who
your
is
point
number
of
one.
Order, members. I think you know the rule.
No, the Honourable number one.
Mevrouw Youngbloed, please follow the rules. We don't have Honourable number one in this chamber or in the house. Please do the right thing.
The Honourable President.
Thank you.
In the final report of the SABC ad hoc committee, the following was stated about Minister Mutambi. The committee found that the minister displayed incompetence in carrying out her responsibilities as shareholder representative. Now she is with this department, but missing in action,
On a
as
point
you've
of
heard
order,
from
Chair.
my colleague, Honourable Van der
On a
Walt,
point of order, Chair.
about the minister's apparent
Chairperson,
lack
on a
of
point of order.
interest in a new department.
Chairperson, on point of order. The rule on relevance.
Proceed, member. Can we have order, honourable members? We're about to finish. Just
Which
relax.
brings me to the question, why is this woman still employed as a minister in this cabinet? The public service deserves better. South Africa deserves better. We shouldn't be plagued by this minister's presence in government. Even more worrying than the antics of the minister is the lack of urgency of government departments to pay their bills. By the end of January this year, the National School of Government, already underfunded, was owed a staggering 18 million rand by government departments for training already received. It seems as though the school is not being taken seriously by other state departments, creating the impression that it's merely a line item on the budget and that spending the budget and ticking the boxes are more important than effective service delivery. What is also not taken seriously is the manner in which the government's policy and procedure on incapacity leave and ill health pillar is abused, and the increase over the last years of the number of sick leave days taken by civil servants, 10.5 days annually, compared to 6.4 list days in the private sector. What is wrong with the manner in which the system functions at the moment? Just about everything. Cases are not being managed properly. If an employee is off, nobody knows the difference. Pillar is going pear-shaped, with leave forms not being captured, not signed, captured late, questionable medical certificates, or applications without certificates, and general apathy. Under former Minister Trevor Manuel, Pillar was under central control for greater oversight, but it was decentralized so that departments take responsibility. Currently, there is no central government oversight function, with the result that the departments can and do run amok. The Western Cape DA government is the exception. A staggering 550 billion rand in salaries for 1.3 million government workers are being controlled under the Pillar scenario. One wonders how much of this goes to employees that should be working but are pretending to be ill. A case in point is the employee who applied for special sick leave but was declined long after he was already on incapacity leave. The matter went to the Labour Court, where his defense was that had he known the leave would be declined, he would have returned to work after his normal sick leave. Put differently, he was not sick enough but abusing the system. Another instance of misuse is an employee who had a sight problem and decided unilaterally to work from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. every day to avoid bad traffic. It took his line manager 4 years to discover what he was doing. The pillar concept is a very good one. Unfortunately, the reality has shown how easily it can be abused and is abused because of faulty mechanism. The solution is simple. When the DA becomes a government in 2019, we will ensure that pillar is managed operationally at provincial level, that there is a straight provincial reporting line, regular and detailed reporting, dedicated pillar officers at provincial level, decisive action in cases where the system is found to be abused, including having employees on extra sick leave they were not entitled to, pay back the money. And most importantly, ensure that there is a central government oversight function. Civil servants are running rampant with sick leave at the moment. What is needed with great urgency is a commission of inquiry into the system of incapacity leave and how it is applied. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Honorable Dex.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister, Honorable Deputy Minister, the Chairperson of the Honorable Chairperson of the Committee, my Honorable comrades, all Honorable guests in the gallery, good afternoon and welcome to this budget debate. Honorable Chairperson, let me say from the onset that the ANC supports this budget. We fully support it. Honorable Chairperson, the ANC remains committed to building a developmental state that will be able to lead efforts to overcome the challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality, as guided by the strategy and tactic document of the ANC. The ANC remains vigilant to deepen the national democratic revolution, accelerate service delivery and development. We need a stronger developmental state and a more integrated cooperative government system. Therefore, the School of Governance priority should be to become a provider and facilitator for the public sector and a center of excellence of applied workplace education and training. We need to professionalize public servants in order to create a public service that will realize the objectives of the developmental state and Vision 2030. A critical aspect of the NDP is that a capable state requires a public service with a common ethos and sense of purpose. Therefore, capacity development requires training, education, professional development opportunities, as well as the institutionalization of appropriate working practices, norms, and behavior. The strategic intent of the National School of Government, Professor Levin, is to ensure 100% coverage of education, learning, and development across all spheres of government. This shows that the ANC cares. Since its establishment, the National School of Government has designed the compulsory induction program and has already begun with the induction of directors and chief directors and executive induction programs targeting deputy DGs and DGs. The NSG should ensure that the programs continue to gain momentum across all salary levels in the public service, as it is but one of the flagship programs towards a skilled and professional public service. The ANC has since proposed the utilization of in-service and retired public servants to facilitate the NSG programs and courses. The NSG has commenced with work to realize the initiative through the Ratenang Ma-Africa campaign. The NSG currently rolls out training on appropriately 130 accredited and non-accredited courses and programs covering developmental areas in leadership, management, administration, and induction. In 2015-2016 financial year, more than 30,000 learners were trained across these courses and programs. Therefore, we will continue to support the appointment of youth into learnership, internship, and artisan programs within the public services, whilst providing an opportunity for permanent employment within the public service. The School of Government, Mr. Levin, must be strengthened to train and retrain public service employees in line with the priorities of the developmental state. The school must ensure that state employees are trained adequately to execute the mandate of service delivery and render high-quality standard service. The school must be equipped with adequate resources, Minister. The school must play a key role in the senior management development and retraining current senior managers. In conclusion, Honorable Chairperson, the opposition has once again shown the masses of our people today that they have nothing to offer South Africa but to come here and grandstand. It is the ANC who are raising the issues sharply in the Portfolio Committee. The DA are silent participants in these committees, and the EFF is nowhere to be found in these committees. In fact, the EFF has reduced itself from a political party to a political labor broker agency of the DA. They have taken the votes that our people have entrusted them with to change their lives and used it as cheap political labor to advance the neo-liberal anti-transformation agenda of the racist, corrupt DA. The EFF is nothing else but political scab workers of a special type for the DA. I'm a Kundan.
There is a point of order. What is the point of order, Honorable Person?
Chairperson, the honourable member is misleading this house. We are not in alliance with anyone. I think he's either drunk or on drugs.
Thanks very much, Honorable Person. That's the point of debate what we are raising, unfortunately. Proceed.
My dear Honorable van der Walt, you raised the issue about the administration since 1994, the wage bill have increased by 43%. That argument is flawed, Honorable van der Walt. And also, Honorable Mulder also came and reinforced that argument of yours, but it's very, very flawed. I'll tell you why the argument is flawed. That argument is based and steeped deeply in the apartheid system. Because what you failed to mention here, was that administration that you are speaking about only was only there established to provide for a white minority in this country and not all the people of the country. It was only to represent a minority and not all the people. What you further fail to mention is there was parallel administrations with that administration. The administration of Matanzima and General Bantu Olamisa, the administration of Lucas Mangope, the administration of General Opakoza, all those apartheid administrations, where the South African government pumped in billions of rands into those administrations, where corruption was at its worst in those administrations, where there was no systems in place in this administration. The worst kind of corruption that we experience comes from those administrators. So when we as the ANC had to take over, when we as the ANC had to take over, listen, keep quiet, I'll respond to you. Listen, I'm educating you, listen, I'm educating you.
Order, honorable members, order. Order, members. We want to hear the argument.
So when...
Order, honorable members.
My time, honorable chairperson.
Order, honorable members. Proceed, honorable.
So when the ANC government took over, they had to incorporate all those apartheid administrations into one. So we inherited all that untrained, unskilled people that have used no system to squander and abuse ratepayers' money. That's why we have to decide to set up the School of Governance to retrain our people, because when we came in, we knew nothing about administration. And our people learned from the very corrupt white people that we found there. We learned from the very best, the corrupt people that we find there. And lastly, Van der Walt, you see, Van der Walt, let me clarify this thing here.
Honorable Tex, honorable person, what's the point of order?
Chairperson, this fellow is quick to jump up if you mention any of their members by their first name or surname, but he refers to this honorable member as Van der Walt.
I withdraw.
You withdraw? Good.
Withdraw.
Now go home.
Okay.
Useless thing.
Okay.
You're a useless person, man.
Proceed, honorable Tex. I was not sure what point
No.
this was raising.
No, honorable
Proceed.
members, the honorable Van der Welt raised that issue because every time when the TA gets hiding from me, then they want to raise nonsense. She raised the issue. She says that honorable member wanted to join the TA. Let me respond to that. Let me respond to that for once and for all. Let me respond to that.
Honorable person, what's the point of order?
Chairperson, what's this toxic masculinity about giving hiding? It's poison. Why does he want to give hiding?
No, what is the point of order, honorable person?
He says he's giving hiding here.
What
That's
is the point of order?
That's toxic masculinity.
No, sit down, honorable person. There's nothing that we are saying. Proceed, honorable Tex.
See, I want to respond to that. You see, I want the TA today. I want the TA today to look at this black face of mine carefully. Look at this black face. You see here in front, there's no for rent sale here. I can see for rent there, for rent there, for rent there. I am not a for rent black. I'm not the renter darky. There's the renter darkies there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is...
Mr. Chair, Honorable Chair, may I address you, sir?
There's nobody in the floor, honorable.
No, I'm asking to address you.
Okay.
The previous speaker,
Under which rule are you addressing me?
I'm arising to address you. And
Under
I
which
have
rule?
No, I don't have to specify a rule.
No, you must address me based on the rule.
I know, I don't have to address you on the basis of the rule.
No,
please.
you must address me based on the rule book.
I'm
You can't
asking-
just address me
I am
without
asking permission
referring to a rule.
I am asking permission for me to address you as chair.
On which rule?
When I get up in parliament, I don't have to specify a rule, sir. I'm asking your permission to address you.
No, you can't say, you can't specify which rule are you addressing me on.
I have risen in Parliament before in plenary.
Honorable James, address
risen-
me. I don't have a problem with you addressing me, but you
I've
should.
never been asked, sir. I've never been asked. I've never been asked in
No,
Parliament.
you might not have been asked, but I'm asking you, on what rule are you addressing me?
I would like
Order,
to.
honorable members. Order, honorable members.
I would like to refer to the fact.
Order, honorable members.
I would like to refer to the fact that the previous speaker referred to our members as darkies. That is a racist comment, and I asked you to note it. I want to address you on the basis of the fact that that is inappropriate, it is wrong, it is unparliamentary. Nobody should be referred to as a darkie.
No, thank you very much. I don't remember him referring to.
Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson.
As I'm saying, I don't remember the member raising
Honorable
that, but the
Chairperson.
member is here. Wait. The member is here, he can speak for himself. Did you, Honorable Member stand up? Did you refer any member of that house as a darkie?
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, they don't want
Order,
me to
honorable members, I want to hear what he's saying. Did you
Honorable
refer any
Honorable Chair, let me
member?
repeat my words, what I said.
No, Honorable
then
Chair. I'm
no, I
asking,
need to
did
repeat.
you?
No, let me repeat. I cannot, then I will.
No, I want a yes
Go to
and a
Go
no.
to the answer then, Honorable Chair. Go to the answer.
What is your response? Yes, I'll go to answer, but what are you
Go to the answer.
But
because-
what are you
No,
saying,
can-
yes or no?
I cannot respond to you in that manner, yes or no. Allow me to say what I said.
Honorable Tax, I want to understand whether you did refer to it, because it's you who are speaking.
I'm not
Whether what they are raising,
No.
the issue is for
I am
you to
not
say yes or no.
I'm not prepared to respond to their query.
No, you are not responding to them. You are responding to me. It's me who's asking you.
No.
Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson. May I address you on the same issue in terms of Rule 84?
Honorable Mulder.
What the honourable member has just...
Honorable member, wait. Can we have order, honorable members? There's a member on the floor. Honorable
Chairperson.
Mulder.
Honourable Chairperson, what the honourable member has just now said is a blatant lie. And I want to ask you, Honourable Chairperson, if members of Parliament cannot set the example in terms of integrity, who should do that? The honourable member has just now...
On the point of
Honourable
order,
member-
on the point of order, on the point of order, on the point of order.
You can't call Honorable Tax a point of order on top of a point of order. No, man, sit down. No, you can't. You can't do that.
Honourable Chairperson.
No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that.
Honourable Chairperson.
Yes, Honourable.
Not only
Wait,
did-
Honourable
Not
Paulson.
only did the honourable member on numerous occasions in his speech refer to members on this side of the House as darkies, he has just repeated that in an interjection. So if denying that, it's a blatant lie, and I ask you to act in terms of what has happened. We cannot allow this to happen in our Parliament.
Thank you, Honourable Mulder. Honourable Tax, did you say people are liars? Switch on your mic. Did you
Chairperson,
say?
I did not say that any member of this house is a darkie. I said there is rented darkies in the TA. That's what I said. I never
You're
referred
lying.
to members of rented. And there they're sitting there. Look at the rented darkies there.
Honourable Tax.
Sit 8.
No, thanks very much.
On a point of order, Chair.
No, wait, I'm still addressing.
On a point of order.
No, I'm still responding to Honourable Tax.
But will you recognize me
Yes,
after
I'll
you?
give
Thank
you, yes. No, the member has denied having said that. And I can only take his words of what he said. Then we'll go and check whether in the hazard it does reflect.
heard
what
him
he has
now.
said. Honorable member.
Thank you very much, Chair. The Honourable Dirks has just referred or said to Honourable van der Walt, Futsek. And I would like you to check the recordings on that as well, because there is no way that we're going to allow him to get away with what he's been saying. Thank you.
Honorable Singh, wait, Honorable Singh.
Yeah, Chairperson, I think we can end this quite quickly. I rise in terms of Rule 82. The Honourable Member just now said that he said rent a darkie. And I mean, what more do we need to go and read Hansard or read anything else? He said it, he should be man enough to withdraw, because it's unparliamentary and abusive language in this chamber. That's all you should request him to do, Chairperson.
No, thanks very much, Honorable Singh. Thanks very much. As I've indicated, we'll consult Hansard, and then we'll rule accordingly, because he's denying that everything that you're alleging to have said.
He's a liar.
Thank you very much. We'll call Honorable Minister to respond to the debate.
Thank you. Leave it.
Order, honorable members, can we give an opportunity to the minister to respond to the
Sorry,
debate?
on a point of order, madam. That member there van der Walt is sitting there and she's shouting at me, sis. She must not let me tell her where sis is.
Can you proceed, honorable minister?
Chairperson, I can't believe you allowing this man to get away with this. He just threatened a member. He just threatened a member. And you don't have the courage to remove him from these chambers.
No, man, Honorable Paulson, you're out of order.
No, Chairperson, he just
No,
said,
no, you're out
I
of
will
order.
tell you where sis is. He threatened
No,
the
sit
member.
down, Honorable
He threatened
Paulson.
the female.
No, man,
And
sit
you're
down,
allowing
Honorable
this.
Paulson.
You're
Honorable
allowing
Paulson,
this.
No, man, sit down, man. Sit down, please. Please sit down. Honorable Minister, can you respond?
Oh, they are going.
Honorable
Thank
Ted.
you.
Honorable members, can we have order on the right-hand side?
Of all sectors in the country. That's why there are various ministries that has got different responsibility when it comes to there. Also, with regard the establishment of the sector bargaining chambers was solely for that. So, but never, I think I'll urge him to go and read the provision of Section 3 of the Public Service Act. That is very clear on our mandate. And this is what we have been accounting to myself with the Deputy Minister on the work that we are assigned in terms of the law to deal with that. And then I want to appreciate Honorable Singh, Honorable Melder, and Honorable Ngwabe from the NFP for being watchdogs for the betterment of service delivery. This is what we want to hear from you, and I want to assure you we are hard at work to make sure that we turn around the public service into a desirable one. We welcome criticism as long as you are playing your part, then you are true patriots. We will want to welcome those inputs, and I can assure you will give you feedback on the matters that you were raising. On the issue of bogus medical certificate, Honorable Singh, as you have raised, the members of the Portfolio Committee will tell you that the department have introduced a sick leave and ill health retirement policy that when they implemented it as they briefed the committee, they found it has got its own challenges, and the committee has advised that they review it. In our briefing meeting, myself with the Deputy Minister, we briefed of that review process, and we'll be coming back to Parliament to close those gaps. And then I'm also equally ashamed on the issue that you've raised of a disability person. But if you have heard my speech, I will even commission the Public Service Commission to seriously look at that. And it's work that we've got keen interest to say people with disability and women must be given an opportunity to work. Just to comply with the mere 2%, it's an area of concern that certain departments have not yet complied. But ours, as a ministry that is responsible for the enforcement, I think this is the matter that we take serious concern of, and then Public Service Commission will assist to make sure that departments comply with that requirement. The other issue that I wanted to raise was with regard to Honorable van der Walt, where she raised the issue of the wage bill. They tend to forget where we come from. To say the apartheid salary bill was low because it served the chosen few. It was not meant for everybody. And then they tend to forget because where we are seated now, South Africa's public wage bill is only number 2 higher than China in terms of the World Bank report that is there. But people used to selectively choose and criticize the salary bill, not understanding, because where we are, where I'm seated, there are public servants, young men and women who are putting their best, and I don't think we're paying them enough, but still, because they understand when duty calls, they still serve with pride because they know they belong, they care, they are there to serve. And then they tend to ignore the stats that are very clear in terms of the BRICS country. South Africa is at 14%, Russia at 16%, Brazil at 24%, and China at 26%. But you look, we have got our own African continent countries like Morocco is leading in terms of the wage bill, Botswana here, and the rest, if to mention the few. But now you come here and want to use the issue of the salary bill as if we are irresponsible. It's us as this ANC-led government that brought this democracy, of course, with the support of other political parties. And when we do that, when we say radical social economic transformation, we meant that to say also in terms of the public service, you won't achieve it without a competent public service that is prepared to serve the nation. And this is what the values that we are trying to also entrench in our public servant. So I want to also thank all the other members in your inputs when it comes to the CPSI funding. Indeed, it's true, they are underfunded. Like the Honorable Chair of the committee has raised to say, we are living in a world of technology and innovation. And the way the CPIS is operating now is based on those ones that come and ask for requests. I think we need to put more money, but we also need to look at the private-public partnership. In the meantime, in between, when we are looking at the issue of the allocation, the issue of public-private partnership, we need to look at that. Also part of, in terms of our own program, myself and the Deputy Minister, we've already taken a conscious view to say, out of the monies that we are having, where we have money, we'll be able to have projects that support the CPSI so that innovation will consider it seriously. I think I must give members an opportunity to also go and look the issues that they are dealing with, the MEMESA project. Some of you might have seen and experienced that. During our outreach program with the minister, they normally give us those MEMESA buttons that vulnerable women in rural areas, they're able to use to alert other people that are victims of crime. I think that's the innovation that we shall all embrace, like the project here Limpopo that I've raised and any other related. We've met with the CPSI to say, tell us what are the more innovative way. We are a department that is full of paper thus far to say. It also starts with the elimination of the papers that we're having. We move to the digital era that the members has also said.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Time has expired.
Okay.
Thank you very much, honorable members. That concludes the debate and the business of this mini plenary session. The mini plenary session will now rise.